All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Baby Broker to Boss Broker. I hope everybody enjoyed that new intro video. It's pretty hard. Welcome, Joey. How you doing today?
Good. How are you guys doing? How you doing, Cale?
Good. I got some feedback. There we go. Got it. Sometimes you get something in the background. You never know. That's what's so fun about live. Doing good. Thanks for asking, man. So here we are, episode 2, week 2 of your journey as a baby broker to boss broker. So you are a seasoned vet, right? You're out there making cold calls. You're doing all that. You've already landed a bunch of freight, right?
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Just like that.
Awesome. So welcome, everybody. Do me a favor, kind of kick the show off like this every time, but drop in the comments where you're coming in from and how long you've been in the transportation industry. And then we're going to do, one of the things I really like through this process is people dropping comments that we can address live, because those are things that, part of this process is putting Joey on the spot and, learning how to respond, on the fly. And that's really why we're doing this live. So when we get to some cold calling and some scripts, drop your comments in there and we'll flash them up on the screen and we'll kind of go from there. So, all right. So one of the things at the end of the show, I'll drop in a code for Freight Broker Dude merchandise, $50 off on any order that's over $100. So if you are looking to get some merchandise, we got the Broker Dude, Broker Babe, Trucker Dude, and Trucker Babe all on there. So appreciate everybody's support there. We're seeing a lot of great pictures from that, a lot of great support. And Tiffany's already saying, we already got a comment on the shirt, of course. Joey comes festive. We were just talking about it's kind of cold in his office and mine. So he's trying to bring the warmth with that Hawaiian shirt. So,
Yep.
All right. So 2 weeks in, Joey, some things we're going to talk about today is calling carriers, customer visits, a little bit of everything and a little bit more dialogue on putting you on the spot, because I think that's how we learn. What are you looking forward to? What are you kind of nervous about?
What am I nervous about? This cold calling or
just today on today's episode?
I'm kind of not too nervous right now, honestly.
That's good.
I think having this last week, watch the other baby brokers go through it. It's kind of, I don't know, a little bit more accepting of it, and I'm kind of ready to go.
Awesome. Well, good to hear. What are you looking forward to then the most?
Answering your questions.
All right. Cool. So we got some people coming in already from obviously in and around Medford, Oregon, dropping comments in. Susan's always on there from our Denver location. So appreciate you, Susan. And so let's start with, you've been calling carriers, right?
Yes.
Just last couple of days, or when did you start that?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. All right. So any idea on how many carriers you have called?
I have a notepad of, I think I went through probably 10 pages already. Okay. I write down who I called so I don't call them again, a little bit of details, what they have, like what type of trucks they have, like a little bit more details, and then I put that into, of course, sales dash.
Yeah. So roughly 20 carriers, 50 carriers. How many carriers do you think you've called?
Probably closer to 35.
Okay, nice. That's pretty good. Just getting started. So walk me through, when you're calling them, what is your script when you call these carriers?
So, ring.
Yep.
Hello, this is Joey from B2B Transportation. We're a broker out of Oregon. We have some loads coming out of blank in blank. Fill in the blank, that is.
Yep.
We're reaching out to carriers to check on how many trucks and if you'd be interested in hauling the loads. And then basically I have 3 questions. Can I get your contact name and number? How large is the fleet? Do you prefer regional or long haul?
Okay, great. That's good stuff. So if you're listening and you have ideas on how he should be doing that differently, drop it in the comments for us, and we'll bring it up on screen and kind of discuss it. But what are you seeing, Joey? What is the the normal response or the average response that you're getting when you're making those calls?
With the carriers, they are basically eager to jump on an opportunity. So it's not really anything too crazy. I did have a couple that were just not interested, or they went straight to the customer already, and that's all right.
Okay. With this, how did you curate this list of carriers that you are calling?
So we found the list on DAT, and then we went through my carrier to kind of vent them out, and then also on my carrier package as well.
What about, did you use Carrier 411 as well?
Yes.
Okay. And
that was another one, and Parade.
Okay. So we have a lot of tools, right? So it's trying to figure out, based on what you're seeing, is there one that's working better for you?
Probably Carrier 411 has a lot of more like straight detail, where my carrier didn't. I had to kind of find the details if I even wanted to call them, but they're all worked well.
Okay. So Tiffany has a question. And you probably haven't experienced this yet, so I can certainly help it. So how do you handle when the carrier's gone straight to the customer without your knowledge? And I think maybe, Tiff, you're probably talking about if they've gone behind our back after we've already worked with them. But you mentioned in your intro that some of them are working straight with the customer, or how do you identify that without disclosing the customer name here on air?
Basically, what they just said, they just told me flat out, like, yeah, we work with them like straight even. So I was like, we don't need you guys. So,
okay. So they're already direct. Gotcha. Okay. So Tiff did say that, that was a situation. So, what Tiffany was really alluding to is, let's say we already have this customer set up and we've given this carrier freight, and then they go and backdoor us, which, it happens in this industry. That's why, relationships matter, because if everything is transactional, you'll see that a lot more. It really depends on the situation. For me, if that comes up, I'm going to call the carrier and give an opportunity to say, hey, this is what I heard, help walk me through this. I'm not going to call them and be accusatory, because, if you come at them aggressive, they really have two options. It's fight or flight. So I would rather, be professional, learn, and then if they did indeed backdoor us, you have that discussion. It's like, we have an exclusive, our contract says that, you're not able to go around us. If it was a mistake, sometimes that happens, but a lot of times they also say that's a mistake. And you just kind of play it by ear. But it is a challenge in this industry that people go around you. And, honestly, if it was bad enough, you just wouldn't load the carrier anymore. So hopefully they understand that relationship, and it's a two-way street. And it's just like if they had a customer that they use to get to our freight, we're not going to call on that customer, because, it's just doing business the right way. Being able to, when your head hits that pillow, you're able to sleep well because, you're doing business right. So great question, Tiff. So when you're doing the call to the carriers, you got your script. What really is that goal of that call?
I think the goal is just to warm up cold calling, just to call, try to get more comfortable reading the script, and also entering the information into Sales Dash.
Right. So a little bit of practice, getting more comfortable in a non-stressful environment, or removing as much as we can, at least, right? And controlling what we control, because, if it doesn't work out, you're not going to lose that relationship with that carrier. But if you call a customer that, is on your target list, you may never have a second opportunity. So
there's a lot more pressure on
that?
calling a customer than a carrier.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like calling a customer would be a lot more pressure than a carrier.
Oh yeah. And it will, and that's really why we're doing that. So Susan actually has a question. Are you used to getting a lot of no's and not letting it get to you? This is hard at times?
No, I'm not really getting a lot of no's from the carriers because they're eager to, of course, move stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably maybe 3 no's the whole 35 calls, but
that's good.
And most of it's I'm in Canada. I can't go state to state, which I learned that today.
Yeah, that's good. Appreciate the questions. I didn't mention this in the beginning, or at least I don't think I did. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do, because that's where we're putting all this information. Based on what we're seeing with the watch hours, for all 3 episodes for brand new people, there's a lot of thirst out there for this content. It's far exceeded what I expected. You're always hopeful, but you just never know when you're starting something new if it's going to resonate. But I think everybody can resonate with being new in a challenging market, and maybe pick up a thing or two, or just provide value to what we're doing. So you got 3 no's. Any common objections other than, maybe it was a Canadian carrier or something like that you're hearing?
No, only thing I got was we do direct business with them and Canadians, basically.
Okay. So both are extremely valid. So that's good. So going back to how you are vetting them, or the tools you're using, what parameters are we looking for or using to find those carriers? And then how are we ensuring that they're our ideal carrier before we call them, so that you're not wasting your time or their time for that matter?
So we used DAT, and then we were using Parade, but Parade only had a small section of like the area.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to stop using Parade and went with my carrier, and then carrier 411 to look up their NC numbers, see if any red flags. Nothing really showed up, and then we would be able to call them.
Is there a size of carrier that we're targeting?
I just went straight down the list. It wasn't like I pick and choose. I just went
that
straight
might
down
be
the
something
list.
we look at, just because you're not going to call 1,000 truck carrier that's in that yard or right in their backyard, because most likely they're hauling for that customer already. So that'll be a learning area, because you want to identify carriers that need our services. So typically it's the smaller carriers. It could be the single, the double, a couple, handful, but the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100 and less carriers or trucks are really going to be our target market for that. So
I had a couple around, I think the highest was like 35, 36.
Okay, perfect. So that's really what we're going after, is that smaller carrier that, and the reason I mention that is because a lot of times those carriers don't have a sales department, and, the owner may be driving still, especially if it's small, or filling in, or doing everything else that it takes to run 35 trucks, maybe working on the trucks. There's all kinds of things. So, I was just seeing if there's any comments here, I want to bring up. Getting a lot of comments in here, so appreciate you guys. Have you found any carriers that you think will be a good fit?
I have a list of everyone that I talked to. Some of them was a little more to the point, but some of them like, oh, hey, how you doing? So of course I like the friendlier ones. So.
Yeah. But have any said they would be willing to quote on it? Or
there was a lot of eager people like, okay, give me the date, give me the load. Where's this? Where's that? I was like, well, hang on. Details will come, but we're trying to just throw that net in the ocean and try to, pull, like, just get carriers for right now.
Yeah.
But they were eager to start moving stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So during that process, sometimes it's important as well. What didn't work for you, and what did you quickly abandon after a few calls? Anything that you can share there?
No, I basically just stuck to the script and then just going home.
Yeah, awesome. And you mentioned entering them into Sales-CRM. What's the importance of that in your opinion?
I have a whole list of everybody that I've talked to, And then also there's a part where you can put comments.
Mhm.
So it's just we were just looking for flatbeds, but if they say had dry vans or just miscellaneous stuff, I put that in the comments, or even other emails. Instead of like dispatch, you can go like with Ivan at blah blah blah. But it's just keeping the comments. So if I do have to go back to it, I would be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, and Aaron made a comment here that calling without a load in hand is difficult, but keeping good notes is vital to know who to call back when the loads do come. So, question on that, because I know in Sales Dash we can actually put on carriers the lanes that they haul. Are we putting that information in there as well so that we can then refer back to that?
Not yet.
Okay. I would recommend that. So that'll be something to look at because if you think back, this bid is for next year. So if we come back in, let's say January, and we start looking for carriers, we're not going to have, I'm not going to remember them all, right? And you've moved on several months, being able to search by origin or destination is going to be key for us to be able to really use that and get the full power out of it.
Okay.
So, all right. So one of the cool things that I really want to chat about is we had a customer visit, right? So walk me through and walk our listeners through, how did that come about?
So it happened last Friday, right before we had the interview with the baby broker, or with me, that is. I had a old coworker reach out on LinkedIn, said, "Hey, you're a freight broker. I have such and such trucks. I want to get a quote." Mm-hmm. And then I was going bouncing back with Steve, and then trying to get ready for this, and then eventually it came to a point where we asked them for a tour, and Cale and I took a tour on Tuesday, and it was a good experience.
So let's back up a little bit. So you gave them 2 quotes. What was the response to those quotes?
They thought it was too high.
Yeah, and at that point, what was your mindset of what to do next? Because I think that's important to share as a new broker. Highlighting that first rejection. So what did you think right away?
I thought they would just be more kind of like grandfathered in, and that's how they were getting their lower rates. I didn't really, and also an issue was going over to Tennessee, and then having them come back with like nothing. So that was also, I just didn't work out. But I didn't lose sleep over it or anything.
Yeah. And what was my recommendation to you from that point?
You're the one that said, let's go get a tour.
Yeah, because you worked with these guys, they're, I don't know if you call them friends or not, but they're, they think highly of you.
If they're watching this, yes. We're friends.
Best friends, BFFs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that, whether they were friends or not, because, they gave us feedback that they felt we were too high, but we worked and giving a quote a short notice, and we didn't have a lot of information to say, exactly identify, what mode, those things. Because when we got over there, it was a little bit different than what we originally had, right? And so that's why I wanted to go over there and meet with them and get a tour, because it's much easier in person to get those ask 3, 4, 5 questions rather than just peppering them with questions on email. And if you send them all in one email, they're going to answer the one they want. It's typically what happens. So when we got over there, what was the biggest thing maybe that you took away from our time over there, from a learning to a going forward on how to do sales?
Well, I learned that Cale's the man, honestly. Just watching you answer the questions that they had, because some of it was like one after another. It was like 3 against 1. I was like the little kid on the side, just kind of like watching. And you just, every question they had, you were ready. You just knocked them out of the park.
Yeah. And that's just experience. We've all been there when we're new, and you'll get that. But my goal was to take you over there and just, number one, if we can get a new customer for you right away, that's huge, right? And that's really going to help you learn faster because you're dealing with real stuff versus all this training stuff. And, we're probably going to have to adapt our training process, but hey, we'll adapt our training process any day of the week for a new customer. So if you're a new customer and you're listening, just send us your freight and we'll adapt our training process to get these guys moving. So was there some questions that they had that you were like, I don't even know what they're talking about?
I don't think so. I don't think there was anything that I didn't know, but my brain was probably a lot slower than with yours. You're just like, done. Yeah, this is it. So like the LTL, yeah, nope, not our thing. Not our thing. Just thinking maybe
yeah. And that's a good point because they did bring up LTL, and I said, listen, we're not you guys probably have looking around their warehouse, just a little bit that I knew and knowing we don't really have an LTL process. I mean, that's not what we do. We're truckload. We can do a lot of partial. We can do box trucks. We can do hot shots. We can do all that stuff. But LTL, that's just not us. And I was honest about that. And they did say, yeah, it'd be kind of hard to beat our LTL deal. So obviously they have that in place. One of the things that they had said when we went over there is they wish they would have given us that one load, right? Do you recall that? Yep. And can you kind of maybe walk the listeners through why they said they should have given us that load?
Well, what they do is for Amazon, and for Amazon, you have to have a scheduled time, and the shipper missed his appointment, so he has to wait until I think the 15th.
Well, I think he took it and he never even had an appointment. He just said he got one to get the load.
Oh.
Is the way I took it. I could be wrong, but either way.
You probably know better than I do.
Yeah.
I thought he missed the appointment and then he has to wait until the 15th to get it.
Yeah, I think he does have to wait till the 15th now because he took the load and picked it up before securing an appointment. So that's, if you've been in this industry more than, 2 weeks, so next week you're going to know all this, so don't worry. There's certain people you never pick up a load without having a delivery appointment because you will sit on it. So let's see, we got some questions here. Tiffany's got a question. What did you do prior to joining us at B2B? Is this your first time? Yeah, he's a baby broker. So no, go ahead and answer that question for Tiffany.
I was a quality control supervisor.
Okay. At a wood products manufacturer, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So familiar with the industry, somewhat, and been around trucks and et cetera. So
yes.
All right. So we visit the customer. So this is where I need our listeners to chime in. Here's the scenario with this customer. We go over and visit them Tuesday. And it's like, yeah, send us your information. We'll get you set up. So we send it into Tuesday. We don't hear back. And Joey's like, oh, I was going to wait. And I said, no, email them again because they said they were going to do it. So let's hold, the customer accountable to what they said, or at least follow up and see what's changed. Right. So he follows up and they say, I'll get it tomorrow, which was yesterday. So now here we are Friday. I asked Joey this morning, what are you going to do? He said he's going to wait till Tuesday. So if you're listening and if you've ever sold transportation, drop in the comments exactly what you would do. Would you wait till Tuesday or would you do something differently? So you got to figure out what's up, Joey.
We did get two different emails. One said they were busy and early next week, and another gentleman said it will be tomorrow, which was the next day, which is yesterday.
Yeah. So, and that's what I was going off because number one, that's the answer I wanted. And number two, that was the second email and he was the boss. So that's so Crystal already jumped in and said, your fellow baby broker said, don't wait. Don't wait. So I would be following up is what she's saying. I'm sure we'll have a couple other comments in here, but I just wanted to present that to people that are following along because I think it's important is like when you do have a lead, especially with somebody you know, and they said they're going to do something, sometimes we get busy and we're like, oh yeah, I forgot that. Now if they didn't respond, or the last comment says, hey Joey, I'm super busy, I'm going to be out a couple days, I'll get to it Tuesday, wait till Tuesday. But since the last email we had was I'll get it tomorrow, which was yesterday, I'd follow up after this call and just saying, hey, so-and-so, just checking in. I know you guys are probably busy, but also want to get you some quotes. So if you have anything we're working on that you're working on, let us know. And while we get that packet set up, we can get you a rate for that.
Okay.
So Don says, it's hard because you do email again and be a pest, or do you be aggressive? It is hard. And I think every situation is different. The fact that we visited them in person tells me, and they basically said they were going to give us the business, I'm going to tend to be aggressive.
Okay.
And one of the things with this customer that we saw is they ship a lot of different modes. So through this process, I think we can really help them, bring value. And value, I was talking about this morning, value isn't always dollars, right? It's not the cheapest rate. So it's important to know that in this industry that value sometimes is time. Value sometimes is our expertise, because if we can save them time and money and they can move on and do other things, that's all value. And so we have to really understand our value proposition. And Don followed up with, I've always been told to be aggressive. I'm gonna always err on the side of being aggressive. So Janet's got one here. Don't get pushed out the door being overboard. Maybe email Monday. Oh, Janet, come on, man. Yeah. I mean, it's each their own, right? So, and you can follow up in a positive manner without being pushy. Like I had said, you could say, hey, just circling back again. I know things get lost sometimes, but let us know how we can move this process along. And Janet followed up with, it is a hard market for sure. So, and again, it goes back to me. You have a personal relationship. These guys. They're not going to ostracize you if you followed up when they said they were going to do something and they haven't gotten to it yet. So, all right. So, man, we're already 28 minutes in. I must have been talking a lot, Joey.
Wow.
Time flies. So here's the most important part of this episode. Your cold calling script for when you call customers. Okay, so you just called me. I answered the phone. Hey, this is Cale. What can I do for you?
My name is Joey. I'm a freight broker at B2B Transportation. We're a company that specializes in helping businesses ship their products all over the country. I was wondering if I had a few minutes to chat so I could learn more about your company's products and see if we could help.
What do you know about us?
Your B2B Transportation.
Okay, but what do we ship? What modes do you handle? Do you handle flatbed? Do you do LTL? Do you do reefer? Because we do a little bit of everything. What exactly is your expertise?
We'll find that out.
Okay.
Probably be more lumber in that area, since I load trucks and knew a lot of stuff before coming in here, but we don't know.
Okay. I think we're good right now, Joey. I don't know that we would be a good fit for you.
Actually, that's the reason why I called.
Okay.
Similar company, in quotes, is using competitor, quotes, and liked the way we helped and communicate throughout the shipping process and deep dove into the carriers that B2B Transportation use.
Okay. All right. So, give me an example of how you've done that for that other client that you just mentioned.
We filter out the carriers. There's a high rate of theft, fraud going present.
All right. So I put you through quite a bit there. So, drop in the comments, what do you think about the script? What did Joey do well so that we can do more of that? And then, these are always hard because it's simulated. it's live. We're not going to drop customer names or anything like that. But what are some suggestions, that he needs to work on, but also what did he do well? So Don dropped in there, do your research on the customer. Obviously, this is a hypothetical customer. Totally agree with that. Because, if you call me, here's something I do all the time. I get hit up via email, via LinkedIn. And the one thing that I do try to do, because I've been on the other end of that, is respond. But I get hit up several times a week. Couple questions. Are you interested in selling B2B transportation? Answer is no, I'm not. Okay. So that's the answer. Or do you have an exit strategy for B2B transportation? Would you like to save money on taxes? Well, I'm good on that. So my response when they ask if I'm interested in selling B2B transportation is this, so that they will go away if they're not a good fit, because we're not interested in selling. We're interested in growing. But what I do is I said, no, I'm not interested, but I would need to know your approach, because everybody always wants to book a call, right? Well, I don't know about you, but my time is valuable. It's extremely important for me to not book unnecessary meetings that will get me nowhere, right? Now, that being said, so what I put to them is, I'm not interested, but if I was in the market, I would need to know what your strategy is prior to booking a call, who you work with. Are you a venture capitalist? Are you private equity? Or are you already in the business and just looking to scale? I said, so before we book a call, I would need to know all that. You know what happens? Nobody responds. Because I add on to that as, I'm not interested in a roll up and a flip, because it's a lot of work to sell a company. I've been through that. And, I don't want, number one, we're not for sale. So, but number two, if we were, it would have to be a great fit. And so I think for me is like learning how to respond to those people and, just giving them an answer. So that's why my point with that is, when people do reach out, I do try to respond, because I have made cold calls. I have done that. And I would rather have a no, I'm not interested, than a ghost or string me along, because, my time's valuable too. And just because I'm selling doesn't mean my time isn't just as important as anybody else's. So I always try to think about that when I'm being called. Don did say he was trying to recover and it was good to keep trying. I would agree. I think that's one of the most important things when you're cold calling is don't just get stumped and quit talking, or kind of, not that you quit, but just kind of stopping. I think that's super important. So, and then Crystal said that was a great pause on your delivery and you kept finding reasons you should choose us. I would totally agree with that. I thought your cadence was very good. You weren't rushed. You weren't, your voice did not appear to be nervous, which I think is important. So it speaks confidence. Because if we're not confident in that cold calling process, people are going to sense that and just number one, walk all over you. Two, maybe hang up, and three, not give you the time of day. None of those are good situations for us. So, Crystal did ask, how else can we show our value? So, we got another one here. Joey. Wayne must have hit a little soon. I was trying to drop the other one off, and then that one popped up. So, all right. So, man, 34 minutes. Joey, any other insights that you want to share with our listeners from week 2 and maybe what you're looking forward to in the next week?
I did on LinkedIn, since it was a subject earlier, I did get a new mentor, Sean Matthew. He's been talking to me throughout this whole week, giving me pointers, and also told me to actually read the 48 Laws of Power.
Yep.
So I kind of started doing that, it's been interesting.
Yeah, I think I commented on that the other day. I do recall reading that, but I don't read books because I drive a lot, so I listen to them. But I do recall, it having some really, really good stuff in it. So, so here's the rest of Wayne's comment. Being in the industry for over 35 years plus, one word comes to mind is perseverance. Totally agree. You can't be like there is no finish line for what we're doing. You just got to keep moving forward. So, Some things that I'm looking forward to for next week is we're going to work to get out and see some trucks getting loaded so that the team can see that. They can, see with their own eyes, learn more about the equipment, what the driver goes through, those sorts of things. Looking at your Cardone training this week, Joey, was there one thing that you really picked out that was valuable for you?
Actually, I have quite a bit. Ask the hard questions. He said flat out, were they like trying to make an appointment? Is there any reason why you won't be at this appointment? I thought that was kind of straight to the shot. Like, hey, is this actually going to happen? Or it kind of puts them on the spot. Yeah. And another thing he said is like, if you're making an appointment and they don't have a pen or pencil or anything, he said, I'll hold. And you just stop.
Yeah. Pretty
powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Okay. Awesome. Well, I think we wrapped this thing up. I did share a little bit about Freight Broker Dude, but that's the website. So if you're watching and you were looking to buy some merchandise, I'm wearing the Broker Dude zip up hoodie today. Behind Joey, we got a couple hats there. If you are looking to buy Baby 50 at checkout, we'll get you $50 off for an order of $100 or more at freightbrokerdude.com. And again, you got Broker Dude, Broker Babe, Trucker Dude, and Trucker Babe. So appreciate the support. And episode 2 is in the books for Joey. And we've got Monday, we have Alan coming up on Monday. And then Wednesday will be Crystal. And just appreciate your support. Again, we're getting a ton of really great support. So thank you guys. And Joey, any parting words?
No, thanks for joining.
All right. We'll see you guys all next time.